Atlanta Falcons at the Denver Broncos. This one's Sunday at 4:05. That's a couple good 4:05 crossover witching hour games here. Broncos favored by 2.5. They're 5-5 coming off their disappointing, heartbreaking loss to the Chiefs, and the Falcons are 6-4. Speaking of the Broncos, Brandon Perna tonight. We got a little crossover show with Brandon, diehard Broncos fan, who's probably upset about. I know he's upset.
I mean, he certainly was upset.
Yeah.
Who knows how upset he is right now?
You don't think he's cooled off 4 days later?
I don't know. Some people get over these things quickly. Some people it lingers,
Yeah. I mean, when you only play 17 games, I feel like as a player it might be tough.
Yeah.
And as a fan, it's really tough. So you got to wait. You have to wait the whole week. So we're gonna have a little crossover event tonight with Brandon, and That's Good Sports, and we'll be recapping Commanders Eagles tonight.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So tune in. It's going to be on both YouTube channels. Be streamed on both at the same time. But yeah, it should be. We've never done anything like this before, so excited for it. Hopefully it's not a shit show.
Hopefully it's not. We'll do our best. Now, your thoughts on the football game?
I wonder, so Denver's defense obviously is really good. Can they stop that Falcons run game and force that team to be one-dimensional? Can they basically force Kirk Cousins to do it all with his arm? Denver's run defense, they're number 5 in the NFL in just straight yards per attempt. They're number 2 in the NFL in yards before contact per attempt. Like, they do not give you much running room. Now, offsetting that, you've got Tyler Allgeier is very good at yards after contact. Bijan Robinson is one of the hardest guys in the NFL to tackle as the first guy. So the Atlanta running backs can generate their own yardage, but that's a really difficult, stout run defense to try and force them into that.
Yeah, I think missed opportunity for the Falcons last week, losing to the Saints. It goes both ways, but they had opportunities to come back and win, had the 3 missed field goals, had some key interception down the stretch for Cousins. Cousins had been reverting this idea that he was unclutch and dink and dunk and can't make these fourth quarter comebacks. He's been great at that over these last few years. Didn't do it last week. But that's my thought on this Falcons offense is I think they'll have a chance to run the ball effectively. Cousins just has to protect the ball, right? Put the ball on the turf last week, threw the pick. Have to be able to withstand this Broncos pass rush, which is coming at you with a whole bunch of just decent pass rushers, whole bunch of just good pass rushers. Nobody that's real dominant. Zach Allen, has a lot of pressures this year, but still nobody that's real dominant up front. They've just done a great job of creating unblocked pressure, winning up front, and just kind of creating havoc for the pass game. But if Atlanta can take care of the ball a little bit better, I think they have a chance to move the ball, put some points on the board here.
Yeah, I think they can. It's going to be tough sledding if it has to be all through the air and with Kirk Cousins, but he's capable of doing it. And we've seen that in the past. He hung 500 yards on somebody. Like he's capable of having those games.
And then on the other side, are we sleeping on Bo Nix's development here? It reminds me a little bit, until this Kansas City game, it reminds me a little bit of Dak's season last year, but at a lower level. Remember, we were saying if you just looked at Dak's season in a vacuum, you would say that's MVP caliber stats and everything. But when you break down where it all came from, it's like, well, he beat up on a bad Giants team, bad Commanders teams, and he just had all his stats against bad teams. You could almost make the same case for Bo Nix a little bit, right? Just he did his best work against lesser teams, including Carolina a few weeks ago when they were, giving up big points to everybody. But I thought Bo played really well against a really tough Kansas City defense in Kansas City last week. And if we look at the season in totality, pretty good, especially from where he started.
I mean, if you're adjusting for competition, that could have been his best game. Like his best actual game was against Carolina, but adjusting for competition is a serious swing in the other direction if you're factoring in Carolina's defense, and then you would give him a boost for factoring in going up against Kansas City's defense. That might equalize those two games, or at least put them in the same kind of ballpark. So, and that would mean 2 of his last 3 games have been, his 2 best games of the season. So, and all of his really bad games came right at the start. So I think he's definitely taken significant strides forward. In a short period of time, he looks good. Like he looks confident. He's a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not disciplined, but he's a lot more willing to kind of stay in the pocket and actually play quarterback now than he was a little bit earlier in the season, where he was almost looking for an excuse to get out of there and go running and just play athlete.
Yeah, I think Sean Payton's done a nice job with him, and I think you look at I can't get over that 3rd and 6, just a simple 3rd and 6 against Spags defense where they did a little half roll of the pocket. We haven't seen that a lot. Like every 3rd down, either Spags has an unblocked rusher or Chris Jones is winning, and it just blows up the play. And Denver converted it, put them in position for that game-ending field goal that they missed. I mentioned all the pressure, just the pressure breakdown for Denver. Pretty impressive. Zach Allen has 48. Jonathan Cooper has 34. He just signed a big deal with them. Nick Benito has 31. John Franklin Myers has 23. And now Jonah Ellis up over 10 with 11. All of them have 3+ sacks. 3 out of those 5 all have 7 sacks. I mean, they have a lot of people to deal with, and I think that's going to be potentially an issue for the Falcons up front. Other guy I just want to mention is Audric Estime getting more workload here for Denver out of the fumble doghouse.
Yeah.
And my hand model guy that I think has a chance to upgrade the run game for the Broncos.
Yeah, Estime was a guy I think we both liked at draft time. Obviously, he got himself put in the doghouse by multiple fumbles earlier in the season.
You liked him before me.
Yeah.
During draft time here.
I did like him a lot. He hasn't, I don't think yet, really stood out other than the fumbles so far in the NFL, but it's significant for him, at least opportunity-wise, that he is getting a much bigger workload. So now we get to see if he can actually show that kind of college performance.
He's now averaging 5 yards a pop.
Yep.
On the ground, but with 2 fumbles or 3?
At least 2.
Yeah, 2 fumbles early on. So just something to keep an eye on for Denver. All right, Broncos by 2.5 here. Where are you going?
I'm going to go with Denver.
Just because they're having Brandon on?
No, not just because. I think I like their defense to do a number on Atlanta's offense, and that'll help them win.
No faith in our friend Zach here.
I have faith. I just don't, I just think he might come up short.
No, I'm going to take Atlanta to bounce back here as 2.5-point underdogs, as will Harry.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.